Hey family, Chauncey Fam here, Dallas Realtor. Today is my favorite type of day. It's closing day. It's time to go get that check. Headed in right now to an afternoon closing that I have. Busy day already this morning. Got 2 new buyers, done 4 showings already. Now I'm at a closing. So I'll take you inside just to launch North American Title Company. Just get a little tidbit of how it works. It's an afternoon and I'm sitting here in my car because that's what realtors do. We sit in our car outside of restaurants. I'm outside of a restaurant, about to go in and catch some lunch, but I just left a closing that I had this afternoon, and it just dawned on me that with this particular buyer, very young millennial buyer, made me feel all warm and fuzzy when millennials buy homes. But he didn't really understand exactly how the process worked because it's so much bad information out there. Not necessarily bad information, but with so many shows on HGTV and $1 million listings, and people have this perception of what this entire process looks like and what all of the steps in the process look like. And closing is one in particular that I think has been made out to be this big, grand, luxurious process or thing, and it's really not, guys. It's signing some papers and sealing the deal. So just wanted to make a quick little video about what a closing kind of entails, and then I'll go into a little bit more detail and in-depth a video about closing at a later date. But nonetheless, a closing, guys, in the state of Texas is typically where the buyer and the seller have their own parts that they have to go into a title company. That's where we typically do them here, not at lawyers' offices. They go into a title company who acts as a neutral party in the transaction. And as neutral party, I mean sellers and buyers, typically their funds, earnest deposits, and money in a transaction. And of course, you know, the buyer can't just give the deposit to the seller in case the seller does something squirrely. You know, you want to have a neutral party there that will make sure that the transaction runs smoothly and you know, everything happens the way that it's supposed to. So title companies act as that third party. Since they act as that third party, typically everything is all wrapped up and tidied up, put a nice little pretty bow on it at the end of the transaction at that same title company. And so that's where we hold our closings. And you go in on the scheduled day and you sign a bunch of papers. Some of those papers are going to be for a lender. Some of those papers are going to be for the title company. Some of those papers have to do with taxes and land surveys. Nonetheless, it is ultimately consummating the transaction and wrapping everything up. And so it doesn't happen like it does on TV, where you see people go into this little room and, you know, they sign a couple of pieces of paper and smile for the camera, and then they get handed their keys. Did you know, little known fact here, that most of the time on most transactions, the buyers do not get their keys at closing. What normally happens, especially when the transaction has a lender involved or there's a loan involved, that title company, after the buyer has signed all of the documents, has to take those papers, scan and email or upload to that lender for the lender to check over and give the okay to actually fund the loan. And by funding, I mean they actually send or wire the funds for that transaction to the title company, and then the title company is given the okay to release those funds to all parties. So they disperse the funds to the seller, they disperse the funds to the realtors that are in the transaction. If there happens to be any type of lien on the property, then they disperse the funds to, you know, whoever has a lien on the property. But nonetheless, those funds are not released until that lender actually says you can release it and fund that loan. So this is a cool little neat fact. Again, I'm out here trying to real estate for real, dispel some myths out here, because y'all watch too much TV and you think that things happen the way that you see on TV. It doesn't happen that way. And closing is a really, you know, cool process, but it's nothing as glamorous as you would think, where people are popping bottles of champagne and yay, you bought a house. I mean, you just sign a bunch of papers and then wait on someone to say, all right, I'm gonna give you this money, and then you move on. So just thought I would shoot a quick little video here. Now I'm gonna go in here, grab me a sandwich, get me some grub, and continue on with the day. Still have some more showings going, so hopefully get you a little bit more footage at some of these showings. Talk to you soon. Bye, guys.